onefootflipper.
Hey everybody, Paige here, the 1 Foot Flipper. It has been a few days, hasn't it? I am still a little bit ill, working on some health stuff, but with the urging from a lot of you and my family, I actually finally went to the doctor. My first real doctor visit in multiple years. I think I had one checkup after I got out of the hospital, and that was it. And so I'm on some antibiotics for a minor infection and taking care of some other stuff, and I'm starting to feel better, but I am not sleeping well. I'm awake half the night and then end up finally don't get out of bed till noon, so I got to figure that out. But you're not really here to hear about my health problems, are you? You're probably here to see what's sold or hear about what the title is or something else a little bit more interesting than my own personal life. Although, speaking of interesting, anybody watch ADH Dave? He just started he just converted one of his channels into a theme park channel. And I think long-term that might mean the end of ADH Dave, because that is an area with a much higher ceiling in the number of viewers you can get on eBay reselling. eBay reselling, however many viewers Harry Tornado has, that's the current ceiling and how many viewers this niche can have. But the theme parks, I believe that can go into the millions. So if that starts taking off, I think we'll see Dave riding a lot more roller coasters and selling a lot less Furbies. All right, all these sales are going to be up on the screen because they've all already shipped out. I sold 10 different gourds for about a total of $140. They pretty much all look the same anyway. I didn't want to list these out one at a time. It would just waste everybody's time. Now, reason I'm up here instead of down in the basement is because I had to search far and wide in the basement for a missing item, and in doing so, ended up pulling 5 death pile tubs down off of the top shelves that they were on, and my wife just put them on the bar, and she's like, I'm not putting these back up, you deal with them. So I've started working through them. I've already worked through 3 of them, and that's going to get me this much closer to perfection, not having death pile and having space for real stuff. But it does mean that this video is from up here instead of down in the basement where I want to do it. I sold this Tanto Core anime beer stand playmat for $9.99. It was my last one of those. Normally I dislike anime manga styles because when I was in high school, it wasn't mainstream yet, and everybody was into it. It seemed like you go over to your house, you'd find out they'd have these special secret tapes.
It's called hentai, and it's art.
And thus, because of that, I never really had a positive thought about that art style. However, I always like this particular mat, and I actually have one of these in my game bag that I use sometimes. I sold this Kenny G album silhouette, $11.69. Would you have thought Kenny G was worth $11.69, or would you have thought he was a 99 center? I would have thought he would be a 99 center, and I'm completely wrong. All right, now let's get into something that might have been in the topic. Chris Helo's World, a couple of days ago, he posted a video because apparently he's been banned from Rockstar Flipper's Facebook group and personally by Rockstar Flipper. And apparently this is for asking a few questions about the profitability of his strategy of selling postcards for $2 shipped. Now, I'm not in that group. I did not personally witness any of this stuff. Matter of fact, I had never heard of Rockstar Flipper before today, but apparently he's a big deal. He's got over 100,000 subs. I had never seen him nor heard of him. And then after Chris posted the video, Rockstar Flipper showed up in the comments. Pretty aggressive. I don't think he would disagree with me saying that he wasn't. Talking about receipts and screenshots. I'm not exactly sure what all of it meant. But I thought maybe some of you are his fans and maybe you'll know what he's talking about, or maybe you'll just want to check this out. I think it's just a little weird for there to be a feud between somebody with 127,000 subscribers and somebody with 250. Not 250,000, just 250 subs. So there'll be a link in the video down in the description. Definitely check that out. Post in the comments there. Give your opinions on it, because I just wasn't there and I don't know anything about Rockstar Flipper. What I do know about is that I sold these Warhammer Skaven metal fantasy figures. I sold this lot of 3 of them, painted, for $35. Apparently one of them's a specific character. He's called an Eekit Claw Queek. Or, I don't know. So, when I pulled down all these tubs that I was talking about earlier that went on the bar, I found my missing Magic the Gathering deck. Doesn't sound like a huge deal, but it is, because it is currently worth $1,900. It had topped out at being worth $2,300 a couple of years ago, but that's a huge amount of money for something to just go missing. How it got in a death pile tub, I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is that I wanted it to go down to the basement, and I filled up a tub of things to go down to the basement, and that tub just got placed on a top shelf before I could ever pull it out. I had been looking for this for months. Sold this lot of Bachmann G-scale parts, $17.99, and that's all mine now, since I did buy out my train buyer, and that stuff is no longer pseudo consignment, so that money is all mine. And since I've got these tubs down, I've been more aggressive in throwing things away. Bad tools, like I found a wireless keyboard, but the little USB dongle is missing. Do I save that forever to hope I'll find the dongle when they all look alike? No, threw it in the trash. Throwing some bad tools away. You know, I have good tools. Do I need bad tools too? I don't think I do. Do I even want... I didn't get rid of these, but do I even want to keep things like my Army training certificates or, you know, awards from high school? I don't care about any of this stuff. It just seems to be things that I occasionally find and move from one place to another because I feel like I have to keep them. What do you think about that? Sold this Bill Cosby sports comedy album, $2.28. Now that's the perfect example of how something can just go bad all of a sudden. I imagine pretty much everything related to Bill Cosby has gone bad at this point. Sold a set of 4 Games Workshop Artillery Scatter Dice, $24.99, plus whatever they paid to eBay for the international shipping. So apparently these are going home to England where they came from. And I found another mini storage tub full of Warhammer tanks. Ended up being $685 in listings. I thought I was done with that stuff. I've got to be done with it now. There cannot be any more of that stuff hiding. One of them's already sold for $100. It'll be in the next video. Decided in this video just to do the things that have already shipped out of the house so I don't get behind on those. I sold this Gremlin Hustle arcade control panel underlay. This thing is really just a piece of paper. It's from a 1976 arcade game, and in that one, the game, I think this one unit that I had, because I parted a unit out because it got water damaged, I think it might have been a prototype or an early one, because it had this piece of paper with plexiglass over it. Instead of, back then, usually they were either, the instructions and everything on the panel were either silk screened on directly onto metal, or they were silk screened onto mylar or vinyl and then put onto the panel. But this one was paper, and there's no way it was any sort of reproduction or anything else, because this game's from 1976. Those 1976 games, they disappeared out of the arcade in 1980. And the thing even had the paperwork in it that, yep, 1980 is the last piece of paper inside that showed how many coins they took out of that thing. Color copying didn't exist then. So this is how the machine came, with just that piece of paper. And somebody bought it for $26.99. Now, in a lot of my videos lately on smaller things, my eBay listings, I'll put a silent video of the item rotating on my white Lazy Susan in front of my white background. I put that on a lot of my listings now because it only takes a few seconds to take the video. But strangely enough, yesterday eBay kicked a couple of them back at me as not approved, which is just weird. It's just a picture of the item turning around, no sound, nothing else. I assume that's got to be one of those eBay glitches. Maybe I'm on the bad server. maybe I need to reboot my Southwest Airlines mileage points, and maybe it'd work then. Finally, I sold this Warhammer 40,000 Necron Lord figure, $39.99. Not bad. Hey, thanks everybody. Be sure and check out that drama over on Helo's World. I've got a link to it down in the description. You're going to want to see what's going on there. And I want to thank Jeff at Games Not Over for the credit sequence. Hey, why don't you tell everybody you know at this point about the channel, because they probably need to know. Hope to see you again soon.
Now remember, eBayers, don't listen to the 1-foot flipper. He doesn't know anything. A death pile like this is good to have.